Many men are working harder and harder at something that may be quietly destroying their confidence. And what I'm talking about are the dating apps. I bet you're on one or two or many of them, or maybe all of them, right? Dating apps create a kind of endless cycle. And you know exactly, as soon as I say that, I'm like, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's exactly what they do. But many men open a dating app multiple times a day and then start swiping and then wait and then check for notifications and then sort of rinse and repeat, right? You've probably done this and it becomes a habit. It's a intermittent reinforcement. Reinforcement you're hoping, but there's a dopamine reinforcement in your imagination of what you think might even happen. So the brain starts chasing this validation, this habit that you're creating. So dating apps operate sort of similarly to other reward systems, right? Like fishing, like the slot machine or whatever. You sometimes get a hit and sometimes no. So you keep going, you keep putting money in, you keep putting time in, you keep putting your emotional money in, your emotional bank account involved in this. And so sometimes you maybe get a match, sometimes you don't get a match, right? That unpredictability itself keeps you checking. You keep checking. And I'm guessing, I'm just going to guess that sometimes you'll see a woman pop up and maybe you look at some of the photos, maybe you read something, you start then fantasizing. I'm just going to guess that many of you are doing this. You start, oh, hey, she lives close to me. Or hey, hey, we like to do some of the same things. And you're imagining this future life with her. Are you doing this? I bet some of you are doing this, not only have done this, but do this sort of repeatedly, right? And then you imagine this great life. Maybe it's even worse than if she does say yes, because now you're like, hey, I'm right. This is going to be the one. It's going to be perfect. And maybe you do send an email or a text or two or whatever. And then you're like, your hopes get so amped up and then they crash. Uh, it becomes this emotional dependence on someone that you don't know, you've probably never met, you never had a relationship with, but it feels like maybe you do. It feels like, especially if you haven't had many relationships, it kind of feels like you've got these little mini relationships with all these people you're swiping right for. And then bing, bing, you get these little hits, right? And it kind of feels like you sort of convince yourself, you trick yourself in your imagination that you have these little relationships. Oh, she probably feels what I feel. Uh, but what happens is this emotional dependence sort of shifts things for you. So initially, you want a relationship. Initially, you actually want a real world romantic, sexual, physical, emotional relationship. That's what you're looking for. But eventually, you're maybe not noticing this shift. You want the proof that you're desirable. That's what you're looking for. Does someone want me? Does someone find me in all of my totality attractive? Now that's so it became about like her or us, if there's a relationship between you and her. It now becomes about you. Think about that energetically as well. But it becomes about you and whether you are desirable yourself. That's a very different goal. So what happens is these are the things I'm hearing are things like I get zero matches, zero match. You can swipe hundreds of times and maybe get no matches, or women never respond. Uh, maybe when there is a match, right? Or dating apps, I often hear people say dating apps ruined my confidence. Oh, they probably did. If you're putting so much of your emotional self-worth into the results that you think you're getting from these dating apps as though it's this, you know, perfect information by, divineness, that shines down on you. This, you are worth it. You are attractive. You are, desirable. It's an app for dating, right? So, what happens is then that men aren't then just struggling to date, They're struggling with what the apps have taught them about themselves, right? Which you've allowed the app to, quote, teach you about yourself. Because you're just reading into this lesson that it supposedly taught you anyway. So if your self-worth is rising and falling with an app, the problem isn't dating anymore. It's not about dating anymore. You think it is, but it's not about dating. It's where you're getting your sense of value. That's the problem. The problem is you're getting your sense of value from an app. That's never going to work. I will see you on the next video.